Welcome to The Dogs Were Good Again. I am here with Jess Rona, who is sitting closer to me.
Very close.
Because we had to make room for an animal communicator.
Yeah.
That we will soon be joined by.
Is
that the right preposition?
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
I am so unbelievably curious.
Yeah, me too.
And I think we're both equally skeptical. But please bear with us. We're going to do a lot of context building. And hopefully learn a lot. And we are, of course, also joined by an Adoptable special guest that our communicator has already talked to.
Yeah, done a reading on. Yeah.
We'll also get into the terms and what is the most appropriate way to talk about these things. But we're very excited.
We're open-minded.
And we're open-minded.
Ready to learn.
Oh, that looks like a good dog. That's a good dog. Yeah, that looks like a good dog. A very good dog.
Please join me in welcoming Khaleesi. So just some context for our audience, that Khaleesi is very, very shy. But whatever you see today, we're learning is much improvement from how shy she was. Her foster told us that she used to have to, you almost fell over. That's okay.
She's so beautiful and
she's
special.
Gorgeous,
she's just very, very timid.
Her foster said that she used to have to whisper because she was so skittish. But let me tell you about her. Khaleesi is adoptable from Real Good Rescue here in LA. She is 2 years old. She, if you haven't noticed, is a Dalmatian mix, but we think that there might be Catahoula in there somewhere. Obviously, she's very stunning. Real Good says she's one of the most resilient dogs they have ever met. She's about 55 pounds. Real Good says Khaleesi came to us after being failed at every turn by the rescue that originally pulled her from the shelter. No food, no medical care, no accountability. She was pregnant when she arrived, and apparently the first rescue just didn't really give her what she needed. She's been with her foster since January, learning to get comfortable in that environment. The same rescue also handled all of her puppies. And again, we're kind of just holding her here to see if she'll get comfortable so that she remains on camera, and then we can help her get adopted. Her adoption fee is, guess what, Jess?
Free. Paid for.
All the above. It's covered. We're going to use covered or sponsored, either one.
I never passed that test.
That's okay. By Kendra Hoffman. Let's clap it up for Kendra. Not too loud, guys. Not too loud. This is Kendra's second time sponsoring a pup on the show. She sponsored Luca from episode 30, who has since been adopted. So Thank you so much, Kendra. Kendra said, I'd like to dedicate the adoption to my dog, Larson, who was the best dog on the planet, and to Remy, a dog I met today, whose owner says he's the best dog on the planet. So I guess Larson found his successor.
No.
That's great. We did learn, or we will hopefully get a lot of insight into Khaleesi from our animal communicator, who did a lot of work just with a photo of her. So we'll build to that. We hope that she joins us, but of course, if she gets too distressed at any point, we will let her go and invite her back for the end of the show. But we want her on camera as much as possible because she's gorgeous.
And she should be home with you.
And she should be on your couch, actually. So
now we're upset.
We are now joined by Elizabeth. Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You flew here. We are honored.
Well, thank you.
Also,
I had an airplane.
Also, I love your shirt.
Oh, thank you. So do I.
That is a very good shirt. That is not a horse. That's a dog.
It's not a horse.
Not a horse. Elizabeth, could you please explain to us in the plainest terms what you do?
Well, I'm an animal communicator. And what that means is that I act as a translator between animals and their guardians. So I am able to find a place where I can understand what they have to tell you, and I let you know. So people send me questions or concerns they have about their animals, and I connect with them via a photograph. I ask them what they want to talk about, and then I get some questions answered for them.
Is there, when you say an animal communicator, do people know that to be more as a pet psychic? Do you like the term psychic? Do you think it doesn't fit? Could you give us like the terminology that you find most appropriate?
I do like the terminology animal communicator. Mm-hmm. And really that it is a translator because obviously we've got different languages and things going on. But I certainly don't have a problem with psychic, except I think it tends to get people a little bit activated. So from that point of view, I think that other terms might be more useful. But it is using non-local consciousness to communicate.
What's that?
That's meaning that I get information out of the collective consciousness, out of her mind, out of different things, out of her body.
How does a session typically start? What does it look like? How long do they last?
I usually spend, the first time I'm with an animal, I'm usually with them 90 minutes to 2 hours. I know people that do it in 15 minutes and they're still really good at what they do, but they're usually very finely tuned. And I work with a number of different situations. If there's behavioral or if there's behavioral problems or perhaps illnesses, and just sometimes there's curiosity. I work with people when they feel like their animals are facing a time they might be ready to transition, to see if what the animal's experiencing and what they're seeking. And then I also work with animals when they've crossed the Rainbow Bridge, and find out what they're experiencing now and how they're in your life now, how they're experiencing you now, how you might be seeing them or missing them now. So it's all this place where all of that exists that I can find. And it starts with a picture, a pen and paper.
Interesting. And it transcends this mortal coil, I guess. It's, would you say like that? Because I'm not surprised, but the same tactics that you're utilizing is irregardless of living or death.
Correct. Yes.
And so my question is, like, you're getting a story from the animal, a story. So you believe that animals are storytellers just like humans?
I think that they are able to express their experience like humans. One thing that I feel is distinctive and is important to know is that I don't think they get stuck in their stories like we do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started volunteering for a dog rescue, I was thinking this is going to be so great. I did, hands-on nuts and bolts things for them. But I also thought, oh, wow, I'm going to be able to tell people, what the background was if we don't know. And I'm hard-pressed to get a dog to tell me their background. It's been really interesting. Every once in a while, they'll concede because a person cares so much, or they'll describe a place they lived because someone's curious, but they just don't seem to be bringing that along.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't live in their body, which is why Reiki's an element of it, right? Because things that happen to us do live in our bodies and in our energy fields, but they're just not like, oh, you can't believe this.
Yeah.
That thing, and then that thing, and that thing. And I really think it's one of the reasons they come to help us figure out what is it to be here now.
Yeah, because that's something that I really learn a lot from dogs, is to be in the moment, to be present.
I was going to say it resonates that they maybe not are coming with a lot of baggage.
No, but like they are just a simple story, like this is what happened and this is what happened. There's no emotion behind it, or is there?
I don't know if that's exactly how I'd put it, but I do think you made a good point. Like, they're not going to be overthinking stuff like we do, right? When it happens and they experience it and it has whatever ramifications it has for them, they don't sit around wondering, oh, if I had done this differently, or gee, if I was just better, would they have been nicer? Like, they do, like, I'm not saying, I actually feel that their consciousness is probably more expansive than our consciousness.
How so?
In some ways, but because they don't get hung up about some of the things we get hung up about, but and because of some of the things they talk to me about, but they definitely aren't hanging on to the stories.
Why do you prefer to work from a single photo?
Well, because it's like a coordinate. So like if you've ever heard of remote viewing or anything like that, you have coordinates. So I could have a name, like some people just have a name and a city or whatever, but it makes me feel like I can see the animal. And then you were saying something before about how do I not just look at her and tell myself a story, right? And when I saw the picture of her on the beach, I was hoping she was going to tell me how to levitate, because she looked like she was about ready to do that. I was like, that's going to be so cool. And she didn't talk about that. So, but that's the kind of thing I would have thought from looking at her. So I need to try to say, okay, I see you in a particular way, but I am not going to make you somebody else I saw that looked like you or decide something about you because of this pose or this kind of thing. I'm going to ask you who you are.
Was there an experience that convinced you of that all of this is real?
Yes, there's been a number of them. Of course, I'll have to pull one up for you. But yeah, I mean, I have a moment every time I send a reading where I think, boy, I sure hope I talk to your animal. And then something will happen when the people come back and they're like, I don't know how you could know that because nobody knows that, or, that kind of thing. So those things have happened a lot.
Is that more like, that must be very validating to, like, I'm guessing, how often are there experiences like that where I guess maybe the humans who have hired you for a session come away almost blown away by what you were able to share with them? How common is that result, I guess?
Well, one thing that happens is not everyone gets back with me. I send them the information and ask them how it resonates, and they can have a call if they want. And sometimes I'm just kind of like, well, I don't think that. I think if they're hiring me, they're like in spooky land.
No, but you were
probably.
so spot on.
Yeah. And then sometimes when I do hear from them, sometimes it's that it was so spot on that they don't think they need to say anything. You know what I mean? But for example, I had a woman the other day, and I was talking to her dog, and the dog was telling me that she was very clever and that she was a really good puzzle solver and things like that. And the woman had wanted a conversation, and she's like, my dog, this dog, she's very clever. And I was like, yeah, that's what she said. Let me, so I gave her more, like she said this and that. And she's like, well, I had a dog that was really clever, and she's not here anymore. And so it was this thing that it's so easy for us to see people, animals, whatever, through the lens of whoever we've known before. And sometimes when we've really loved someone and they're gone, whoever's next in the space doesn't get totally seen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so then when we talked about it more, then she was like, oh yeah, she can do that. Or it was a he. He can do, oh yeah, he can do that. And I said, I think you're just maybe not seeing him fully yet, but that's okay. You can, he wasn't new to the house, but she was really still, I always call it the fog of grief.
Yeah.
So she was just kind of in the fog of grief. And usually the next ones that show up are just fine with that because they know what place they're taking, right? They don't say, oh, I'm here so I can live in someone's shadow, but they're usually the ones that are going to help you get through the next thing.
But they have an awareness that they are taking over or taking someone else's place?
Well, I believe they can, yeah. Because, there's the whole animal relocation system where they show up right when, like she said, I first saw this puppy just before whatever, and we weren't expecting our dog to depart, and then I couldn't stop thinking about the puppy, and,
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that we have an energy when we're in grief that dogs can pick up on, that they would probably make sense of it by saying, like, oh, this person's grieving. But I don't know. I don't know if a puppy would pick up on that. What do you
You'd
think?
be surprised. You'd be surprised.
This is something that your family has a history of being able to do?
Not this specifically.
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, my great-great-grandmother was a healer. She made potions. I will say potions.
She
wouldn't say
witch.
potions.
She was a witch.
Yes. Not in a traditional way, but she was Belgian, and she wore long black dresses, and she didn't speak the language where she lived, and people made fun of her, and they were afraid of her. But if their baby was sick in the middle of the night, they'd come knocking on the door, and she would help. So, And my family didn't even tell me about her till I don't even know how old. And then I said to some of my siblings, hey, what about Grandma Briere? And they're like, what? And so sometimes that happens, that we have things that we decide scare us and we don't talk about them. But that doesn't stop it from being a lineage. But I would say, I tell everybody can do what I do. I've just practiced it and you haven't.
When did you realize it was something that you could offer to other people?
Well, because I started doing it with people first,
Okay.
I started getting information about people's guides, guardians, and angels, some of the things we were talking about earlier. I was doing that. And then a friend told me that a woman had written a book about talking to animals. And I was like, get out. How could you do that? And she said, I don't know, read the book. And I said, but who's going to tell you that you're right or wrong? And so I read the book and I said, well, I'll give it a try. So this friend of mine had a number of animals and she's like, well, why don't you talk to so-and-so? So I just sat down and asked them what they wanted to talk about and started writing it down. And I didn't know the animals well. I gave it to her and she's like, oh yeah, that's this dog. And oh yeah, that's this horse. And oh yeah, that's so-and-so. And I'm like, hey, it's a thing. But I mean, there's generations of people that have been doing this. It just hasn't been so broadly known till more recently.
And maybe not with such a focus on our pets.
Right. And I think maybe not, I don't know how much in the rescue world originally, I'm not sure. But I just think it has so many practical applications.
Yeah. When did you start working with rescues throughout this journey? And what role do you think you fill for them?
So when I started working with a I started working with a horse rescue when it was formed in 2015 or something. A woman that gets animals that are being shipped to slaughter and saves them and rehabs them and gets them adopted. And so she would have me, she knew about certain things I could do, and so she would help me sometimes help in the selection of the horses, but more commonly if something was going on physically or medically or emotionally, have me tap in and try to see how we could help. So it's something that's complementary to many things, right? Like maybe the veterinarian was coming out to work on whatever, and I'd say, oh, well, it's the left shoulder. And she'd say, no, it's the right hip. And I'd say, but it's coming from the left shoulder. So have them start there, that kind of thing. So I was doing that. And then, yes, you seem like you have a question.
I mean, I have a million.
Okay.
I'm holding my tongue.
That's okay.
Please continue.
Okay. And then in 2019, I started volunteering for a dog rescue in my neighborhood because I love dogs, but I have cats and I wouldn't bring any dogs home. So I felt like I could really help them without bringing dogs home. And we would bring dogs from North Carolina and have them at adoption events. And sometimes it was the first day they'd been in a city, first time they'd been different things. So I was volunteering in different capacities, but one thing I would do would sit with the dogs, especially the ones that were really nervous, and just help them with Reiki and things like that.
You. So I know you have a million questions. I have some questions as well, and also still a healthy amount of skepticism. So we'll get to it.
You're really reading me right now.
There's a story of a dog named Rosie that I think may add some color to some of the things that you've started to explain.
Good.
Do you want to tell us about Rosie?
Yes.
Not only are you seeing a photo of her up here, you also have a photo of her that I adore. That's like quintessential senior dog for me, and I love them so much. So
I don't know.
That is Rosie.
This
so
is
nice.
Rosie.
Tell us about Rosie.
So I help support Goodest Dogs Rescue out here, and the agreement that I made with the person that runs it is that she would give me her tough cases. So she had just recently learned what animal communication was and had heard about me and reached out and said, can you do anything for us? So we started with a dog with some medical issues, and it was one of those blown away by what I got from him that she said, okay, will you do more with us? And so it's the ones that they, sometimes they know things, but it's the ones they don't know anything about, and that maybe they're particularly shut down. And that was the case with Rosie. And of course, they're very seasoned, so they know there's a certain amount of time it takes for them to show themselves. But it was just like they felt there was some sort of a wall between Rosie and some things. So even though, I mean, come on, she's got the jammies, she's got the whole thing. Yeah, she's got the whole thing. So they asked me to talk to her, and she told me a number of things. She really is just like people. Some people want to know everything that's going to happen, and some people are like, yeah, no, I don't know, just tell me what time to be there. But she was wondering, is she going to stay where she is? What's going to happen next? Those kind of things. She also, and she told me certain things, like I'm communicating with her in my mind, but then I feel like I need to speak to her. And it was like that she really likes to be spoken to and be told things and explain things. I got the sense that there's some story time or some bedtime ritual in the house that she likes to participate in. But she just talked about, she was mostly questioning where she was going to end up, and I didn't have answers for her, but I told her we would find out, and I told her that she was, now well protected and safe and that sort of thing. And then she allowed me, I always ask permission to look into their bodies. So I told her we were going to do an exam from her nose to her tail, like if she went to the vet. And I was moving through different things, and then I put my hands over my heart, and I could just feel a heaviness in my heart and a heaviness in my lungs. And grief lives in the lungs. And I just really had this sense that she was grieving, and I don't know what from, but the loss of something. I mean, I know grief is always a loss, but I don't know if it was a person or a place or whatever, and it was just all there. It's just right there. And so with the Reiki, I just invited her to let it go if she wants, let it go when she wants, that she can, keep the experience of the person and the place without carrying the sadness, and just, it was up to her. And I sent on the information, and certain things resonated with the foster and the woman from the rescue that had first gotten her. And they started sharing the information, and a woman who had seen her a couple of times had asked about her, but she hadn't done an application or anything. And when she read about the grief, she said, "This is my dog," because she was also going through something. And she just thought that they could get together and heal together. And now Rosie's living with her in a house with 3 cats that she absolutely loves. And
that
was her homecoming. Yeah.
What a nice lady. What a cute story.
So you were able to assist very directly in that adoption.
Yes. And I didn't imagine that's what was going to happen. I just got what I got, and they, when they explained it, that's the thing that touched someone. So she was clearly interested in Rosie before, but that was the thing.
Did the foster or the rescue, did they know anything about the loss Rosie potentially had gone through?
No, they didn't know her story. So that was, part of the factor. And I think we need to use whatever information we have, but sometimes I think if we don't know the story, it's not a bad thing, because you don't want to just drag that story with you, so, I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. Some things we're ready to move on from before other people are ready to move on from.
So Elizabeth has been very kind in understanding that there's skepticism and maybe some critiques of this as a genre, and you kind of said we're okay to ask you a variety of things.
Yes.
And I think you may be more familiar with the human applications of this than I've ever encountered. My fiance is probably in the same boat as you in terms of her, I guess, general respect for like aura readings and those type of things. She's really into it. And she did one with Javier where the colors show up behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So as someone who has the least amount of context here, when you are communicating, are these, when the dog is talking to you, are these just words that are like, is it being like spelled out in your mind? Is it something that you're getting a general feeling and then you're adding color to? Is it like they're speaking in sentences? Kind of give me some color to what.
Sure. So, they talk about the clairs, like, are you clairsentient, clairaudient, whatever. And it really comes all ways. But the best way I can describe it is it's like I'm thinking a thought, but then I realize it's not my thought.
Okay. That's very helpful.
Yes.
Me too, especially late at night when I want a sweet treat.
And that is coming from somewhere else.
And then I'm like, okay, I'll eat it.
Yeah. It must be from somewhere else.
Definitely.
So I relate.
Good. Yeah. But I get physical sensations in my body. I hear things. It's kind of all singing, all dancing, depending what it takes to get it through. But yeah.
You mentioned something that piqued my interest is that anyone can do this.
Yes.
Just like any skill set, you have practiced it, trained for this, and now are an expert in it. What would be even an indicator that Jess made a joke about having that thought that may be from somewhere else. Is that almost how you would start? It's like, oh, you have a feeling or a sense and you're like, I don't really know the source of that.
That was one of my questions.
Sorry, I took it.
No, but like, because she was like, everybody can do this. Okay, so if someone's watching this or listening, what can they do?
Would they just really try to be aware of something that has come across them that doesn't have a clear source?
Yeah, haven't you had that happen?
Many times.
Yeah, I think a starting point everybody understands is you think of somebody and they call. I know that's the most basic, but I mean, that's the level of it, right?
Happens to my fiance all the time. And she'll call it out. And
I
she
wish
thinks it's
it
important
happened
to
me
call it
more.
out. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't call you the other day. That's my bad.
You will one
But
day.
if you want it, like I think too, but if you want to practice with your own animals, it's like you're probably doing it and don't know that you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, oh yeah, now I know what you want. Yeah, they have different ways they tell you, but they're telling you on all levels, and it's just invisible to you in a way.
No, my poodle screams at me at 4:59 when it's almost time for dinner.
Well, evidently that's what it takes to get through to you.
Yeah. No, I'm already opening the fridge. He barks so much that the whole front of his body lifts off the floor. He's so
it's the
excited.
excitement of the whole thing, isn't it?
So at what point, because yes, I think that there have been moments with, like, for example, my dog Javier, where I think we're on the same page. How does that then develop into me feeling like that I'm like right about what he could be feeling? Again, without the two-way communication. I know you can get more things validated when it's connecting with a human, but with an animal, how do you, besides the few times that you mentioned where it's validated, the people are blown away at the end of the session, how do you carry a lot of confidence in the work that you do when it's with dogs?
Because I trust the dogs.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I just,
But
and
isn't
I always
it more
feel
trusting yourself that you know that you're right?
I trust that I'm conveying what the dogs have told me accurately. I feel like they've come to the party and that I am able to understand what they're telling me, and I'm going to convey it, and it lands where it lands. But I think that's an important part of it. I can just, like anyone that's a supportive service for animals, you give information and make suggestions and see where it goes.
Is it a full spectrum of the amount of information you're able to gather during a session? Like, have there been sessions where dog is stone cold, not giving you anything, and no, you're typically getting some sort of okay.
They tend to be, you think of, like, if someone can't hear you and then all of a sudden someone can, that would be pretty exciting, right? If you've been going around trying to get through to people and everybody's like, what? So I think that they take advantage of the opportunity. I actually believe they pick me. Their people have to type the message, but it seems very clear to me time after time that somehow that dog or the animal, it's not just dogs, I do all different animals, but that somehow they got that to help him.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
He wants to stay on track, and I'm not good at that. So you mentioned other animals.
Yes.
like, can you communicate with every animal? Does every animal have the same?
Does sentience, in your opinion, play a role in how much communication you're able to gather?
Yes, and I think they're all sentient. So I had one client.
So a goldfish has the same as like a moth and a dog.
Well, I
Name
have not.
every animal, real quick.
Zebra.
I haven't run the gamut for every animal, but I have friends that talk to all
Would you
different
say
things
it's
on the spectrum.
just as valid to do like a crab and a spider and a dog? Would you say they all have the same type of communicative
Well, I think they all
abilities?
have something to give us. I mean, we're all in this together. That's the main thing, you know. It's all part of the oneness, whatever, however you look at that. But yeah, it's not like, oh man, cats versus dogs versus horses. You know, they're all their own thing, but there is a great level of sentience. And one example of that, so a woman had contacted me, and she had some concerns about walks with her dog, and maybe her dog getting a little bit older, and did she need to change the way they were walking, because things weren't really working on the walks. And I really don't remember what that dog told me about that subject, but at the end of the whole thing, I sent her the notes, and she was like, wow, I knew she was a sentient being, but I never had any idea. And I thought, oh, okay. And this is a person that I feel like is very in tune with lots of things. But the coolest part was this woman hosts some Zoom meetings that I attend from time to time. And the first time that she got on the compute, that I got on the screen after I had talked to her dog, the dog got up from the couch and walked up to the desk and looked at the computer. And she said she'd never done that before. So I felt like that was my affirmation.
Yeah, you'd made some sort of
I was getting a thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that in the work that I do, I encounter every piece of dog content that is out there. And I think that there's
Bragging.
there's a healthy amount of, like, I don't want to say it's where my skepticism comes from, but there are certainly, this is just where my brain goes. Pets, everyone cares, they care so much about their dogs. It's like they're children to them.
Yes.
And it would be an incredibly easy relationship to take advantage of because people so desperately want to talk to their dog, and you are presenting a solution to that. And my brain is like, that may be a little bit of too capitalistic brain, is like, what a perfect thing to take advantage of, that like desire to have that connection. And I wouldn't put it past some people to do that and just simply, you know, skate by being kind of a fraud in this area. What are your thoughts on that? Do you know people that are in this? Have you encountered people that you wouldn't say are doing this in a legitimate fashion? What are your thoughts on that? I saw, because I was like, maybe it was a viral post that was like, I saw an animal psychic and they said that my dog like really doesn't like to eat facing a wall.
Yeah.
We talked about this. And so she said to put the dog bowl facing a window. And I was like, if I was a dog psychic, I'd say that exact same shit because it would hit. And like, since I'm very well versed in like dog quirks and stuff, like I know how to personify and humorize dogs very, very well. I would have said to do the same thing. Yeah. Because it would like, oh, you probably didn't think about that. But now you think that
it's kind of like my other question too is like, can two psychics or communicators have the exact same message?
Would it be a similar type of... So backing
Not necessarily, but let's go back to that,
Yes.
Matt. So how would you know that the dog was being asked to eat facing the wall? Like, I don't know if the person said, my dog eats facing the wall, and the communicator said, oh, he'd rather face the window. Or if if it was like the dog wasn't eating and he communicated, it wasn't the right circumstance. Like, you know, I have cats that will be like, could we take the litter box out of the dining room? Or, you know, or take the litter box. You know, there's practical things, you know, like you don't put a litter box where you feed an animal. But sometimes people just get busy and move stuff around and don't think about it. So, but they don't say, here's my setup. What should I do? They just say, talk to the animal. And the animal's like, could we rearrange things here?
Yeah.
So that's maybe for that example.
It would just be like, that would be not being able to talk to, that dog. I would still probably come away with a recommendation like that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but just generally.
That's fair.
Generally, I think the question regarding are there people that you encounter that are like clearly haven't put a level of work in that you feel you have with this topic?
I have not had that experience. The ones that I know are devoted and legit, and we all have our different ways and means and that sort of thing. Yeah, I think that any of us are vulnerable to people touching us about the ones we love most. And I think that's partly where the whole psychic terminology takes a bad hit because of all the kind of things people are really maybe in this realm, like for me talking to animals that are on the other side or but even in the larger psychic realm, yes, there are people that make stuff up. And, like if I talk to your dog and I start to tell you that, we're going to remove a curse or I don't even want to be disparaging about it because it's in my field. But I think that there are ways that you can discern if what you're getting, and who you're getting it from.
Okay. I have a friend
Yes.
that had a pet psychic come and the cat told them that the cat wanted to be called, instead of the old name, the Precious King. The cat wanted to be called the Precious King. What do you have to say about that? And then hearing that, I was like, wait, your cat said, I don't like my name. I want to be called the Precious King. And so now my friend only refers to her as Precious King.
So she was convicted by it.
Well, I haven't met the Precious King yet, but I think that is highly likely.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, please don't refer to her as the cat.
I'm so sorry.
Precious King.
I'm sorry.
I had this cat I was working with, and I was told her name was Nani. So I was like, Nani. And then I looked at her, and I was like, oh, my God, you are so beautiful. And it was like, gorgeous. And I was like, oh, you're gorgeous. Yeah, you really are gorgeous. And so it was for sometimes they're very specific about words. So I was like, oh, yeah, you really are gorgeous. So I ended up, that was just a part of things.
And that's what we said when we first met. Because I was like, you were like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And
yeah, I know. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, that's right.
I'm sorry I got so upset, but gorgeous.
But when I sent it to her, she said, do you know what her full name is? I said, no. She said, Nani Hermosa. It means gorgeous. So she was telling me what her name really was that I was not aware of.
And do you think that is the cat having a preference or the cat having been called that previously and wanting that name to continue?
I think what they do, because they're very good to me, is that they give me things that help their people know that I'm really with them.
So you think that they pretty much know what your purpose is there?
Yes, I mean, I tell them.
Yeah.
I tell them, but yeah, I do think that they know, and they're interested, or they wouldn't be cooperating. I've never had one say I won't talk to you. I have had some questions they won't answer. The occasional question they're not willing to answer, but and I vaguely remember one that didn't want me to look in the body, but I can't remember what was going on there, and I could understand that in the context. So,
I am so curious.
You are a fan of We Rate Dogs, which we very much appreciate, and you're aware that we think all the dogs are very good. Do they ever say something to you that's totally not good? Do they ever talk to you and you're like, that's kind of rude? Or can we keep saying that all dogs are good?
I can tell you with confidence, you can keep saying that all dogs are good.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
All dogs are good.
I think then what I'm concluding, because Elizabeth, you're such a calm, very wholesome's the wrong word, but very calm presence. And
What's
I think
the right
all
word?
of my skepticism, well, not wholesome.
I like wholesome.
You like wholesome?
Yeah.
My skepticism, I'm realizing, is a skepticism that is largely based in the systems that I believe are easy to take advantage of. So like when I think about, you're working with people that are experiencing grief, they may be more desperate, and they're in a relationship where, one party cannot talk to them. And I think that there's so many, I've encountered so many people that would be ripe to take advantage of that. And we just live under systems that would reward it very well too. So I think that's where a lot of my skepticism comes from.
From like a mistrust of some people that would just take advantage.
Generally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a general mistrust is where, which I think that's maybe where all skepticism comes from. But it just made me kind of realize that.
For me, it's like it doesn't make sense.
Which
the
part?
Skepticism.
The skepticism doesn't make sense.
No. Like my skepticism comes from the holes in like the way it works.
Okay. Do you have a specific hole you want to call out?
I mean, well, the big one is like there's no proof and there's no way to validate. You can maybe a few things are, and this is just me, and I want to be proven wrong.
Okay.
Because I think it's beautiful and I love it. Just like the whole thing of like a crab and a dog, like, are they both going to give you the same kind of thing? And I also just feel like we have such a way of like needing to make sense of things as human beings.
Yes.
We need to have a story. Everybody has to have a log line. You're the We Rate Dogs guy. I'm the dog groomer
Don't
girl.
put me in a box.
But like it helps. We humans need to make sense of things. We need a story to tell ourselves to just make sense, to calm us. So I feel like, this is just a way for humans to make sense of dogs in a different way that I just don't know if it's completely accurate. But that's okay. It doesn't, I don't have to know. This is me trying to make sense of it.
Right. Well, I think too that partly what's not so evident from not having experienced the totality of some of these conversations is there are things that happen that are behavioral changes, that are health changes, there are different things that happen using the information that is given, right? So there is it's not just something I think about something. I don't mean me, I mean anybody, So there are ways that it does play out in verifiable things. But I know what you're saying about the stories. And Matt, like what you were talking about is, it's important to have discernment. I totally agree with that. But something that's been striking me lately is I can look at somebody and decide immediately to mistrust them. But how often do I look at somebody and decide I'm going to trust them right away? And why is one so much easier than the other? Because they're both a leap of faith. Mm-hmm. So I just now am kind of on why don't I just start out trusting things and then see what happens? And so that just helps me.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to live your life.
Yeah, probably. I'm pretty trusting. Actually, I don't know.
You mentioned before we started rolling, actually, that because your ability is not limited to dogs, that you have to put filters on to keep it from being overwhelming.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. There was a dog I was working with. His people weren't sure how much he was still enjoying his life and what it might be time to do. And so I happened to know them, so I worked with him in person. And it was so cool because he lived on a mountain and he was showing me that he was running on this mountain. So I was thinking, oh, so nice. He's got the memory, because he was a little creaky in his body at that point. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, no, I'm running on the mountain. It was like he was still running on that mountain. And then he would be laying in the sun in the living room and running on the mountain at the same time. And I have no reason not to think that's possible because look at the world I'm operating in. But here's the kicker. Once I finished the conversation, the conversation was broader than that. But once he had told me the things that he was going to tell me, I was sitting in the room with his family and I said, well, I think we're done. And then they were like, well, and I said, because who has the headache? And one of them raised her hand. I said, okay, we're done now because I'm not talking to him anymore. I'm getting you and you didn't invite me to get you. So it's that kind of thing.
And it also, I feel like there might be a pressure of consent as well.
Tell me what that means.
As in, like, well, you just mentioned, like, I think we're going to be done because you didn't give me permission to be reading you or something.
Right.
To that
Yes.
effect.
There is consent. It's important. Yeah.
So it just feels like, yeah, those filters would be, yeah, also a level of restraint
yes.
in some ways.
Yes. And then to just not get confused.
Of
Because
course.
to just think how confusing.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Will two pet psychics say the same reading? Did you answer that? Because I feel like, do you know what I mean? Like we tapped on it a little
As a
bit,
way to
but,
A/B,
like,
as a way to A/B test.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of the trick with all of this. You know, there's not a good double blind kind of situation. Like, I think that we just all get different information. Oh, look at you. Yeah.
Her feet.
Because there's not one answer. So somebody might be better at picking up I get a lot of medical stuff. Some people get other kind of stuff. And
Is it similar to if two people ask Jess how her day's going, based on her relationship to us, she might say two different things?
well, you know her better than I do.
No, but like
As in, like,
we're trying to make sense of something.
Well, just
so-
as in like a dog may have the same. There might be some discernment as to how much they share with a specific person,
Right.
that might yield a test like that. Like that might be the way to keep it valid, if that makes sense. Like I'm trying to do devil's advocate kind of the other way.
Yeah.
But if you were to do that double blind study, I guess your prediction would be that you'd get maybe similar themes, but it wouldn't be the same because it's not
Possibly.
the same communicator.
Right, because so, you know, I have sort of symbols. Certain things come in symbols. Some things are just like I'm hearing a voice in my head and getting these other sensations, but some things are also symbols that I get. Certain illnesses look certain ways, certain things, you know. So I have this symbolic language I'm using, and there's just maybe certain things that are easier for the animal to convey to me than somebody else. But then there are other people that might be focused on some other aspect of the experience. And I think they just, decide what they want to tell who.
Yeah. And so, like, if you're picking up on an animal, then you can equally pick up on a human, right? Like, if you could pick up, like, communicate with my angels or whoever's with me or something about me just as easily as you can with a dog or another species. It's just all the same, right?
Right, because it's the whole every thought that's ever been thought exists in some level. I mean, how else could we get anything from anyone that's not here anymore? There's some place in the collective where everything exists and it can be tapped into.
So where do we go when we die?
Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
That's purgatory.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have. I mean, yeah.
But
didn't
Matt, when
know
you were
every thought
talking
that's ever
earlier,
been thought is still around. I didn't know.
there's
that.
some
Never heard
essence of it. Yeah, there's some energy of it because
Yeah.
energy can't be created or destroyed.
And you think the thoughts have energy as well as
Yeah.
as much as, you know, I don't know, bolt of lightning. It's the same. It's the same product, I guess.
I guess maybe I hadn't really put it that way, but I just think that something that has existed continues to exist and can be accessed.
Okay.
But you were asking earlier about how would you check yourself, right? If you want to be trying to practice with your animals. And part of the thing is, too, the idea that you can, send them a visual of what you're looking to have them do. And I think a big part of it, too, is what your level of investment is, right? So I was walking down the street one day, and there was this beautiful, fluffy, golden bundle on the sidewalk. And there was a person there with a leash, and there was another person there that seemed to be supervising. So I was assuming a guardian and a trainer, and they were going for a walk, except that puppy wasn't going for a walk. And so they were doing everything they could to get the puppy to move. And I came walking up behind, and I just thought, hey, we're all going for a walk now. It's going to be really fun. And I just walked past the puppy and she started to follow me. And then they said, this is her first walk. And I said, well, I think she's going to be really good at it. But like, I don't have an investment in her moving. The people that have an investment in her moving are sending all these different signals. And she's like, what?
Do you think?
And then I'm like, oh, this is going to be really fun.
if you just
She's like, let's go.
Take the investment out, take the desire out, and just have like more of a fun energy behind the thought.
Yeah, I mean, we can't avoid being human, but I think that
We can't.
but we,
It's devastating.
Damn it.
you know, I think one of the complicating factors is that we judge our performance on how well we can get somebody
Very
to do
true.
something, and can feel like it's some sort of failure on our part if they're not cooperating. And if we can remove some of that, I think it can make a lot of things easier.
Do you think that you are, like for that example, easier to understand from a dog's perspective than the average person because you've put in that work? Like, do you feel like that goes two ways?
That's a good question. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I play with it a lot. I used to work at a restaurant and there was a pet store nearby, and I would watch dogs walking down the street, and I would just start telling them to turn left and go into the store. It's like, when you get there, they just take a left turn. There's going to be some really good things in there. And it was so much fun to watch because many of the dogs were already going to the store. That was the whole reason they were on the block. But I loved it when there would be one that was on the person's right and all of a sudden would just look up and cross the person's body and start to take them into the store. It's like, yay, we did it. So, you know, it's just fun. It's just fun.
I do that with red lights. I just picture the green light.
Well, there you
Sometimes
go.
it works. And sometimes it doesn't. But you do have to stop when it's a red light.
Yes, it's better that way.
We're going to jump back into Khaleesi and some of the things that you wrote about Khaleesi, but is there any skepticism that you get that maybe we haven't brought up that you'd like to talk about?
You know, I think you've covered it well. I mean, I've had people say really mean things,
I'm sure.
you know,
Yeah.
but I just figure that's okay. I'm sorry that things are difficult in that way for you.
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't even know me and you must be afraid of something, and I'm sorry. So I do really think skepticism is healthy. And I like to tell people, I didn't think this was possible till I could do it. And that's why I'm such an advocate of telling you can do it too, because who knew, right? It's just a matter of expanding our box of what's possible. I mean, I think that's a big thing in general, because we really are limited by what we think is possible.
Did you mention the name of the book that you read that you loved?
Well, that was called Conversations with Animals. That was out a long time ago. Yeah.
Do you have any other books you recommend to just learn more about this? Or just about like how energy cannot be destroyed and like all those cool
It's like a
things?
third
we're going to have to
science
get
book,
your
I think.
quantum
Yeah.
physics. We'll get
Cool.
quantum physics library to
Yeah.
use stat. Even though I'm talking about they're sentient beings and they have a certain kind of consciousness. I don't know about the crabs, but probably the ones that ran away from me when I was a kid might have had something to say. I do think there are, different levels of things that are being utilized at times. So we have to respect that our dogs can smell so much differently than we can smell. We respect the differences, but I also look for the commonalities in terms of consciousness and intelligence and things like that.
Final thing before we jump into Khaleesi. You mentioned when she was sitting here that if we tried to, it may have been before we were rolling, but as we were trying to get Khaleesi comfortable, you said to try to visualize her laying down.
Right.
Is that something that is harder? Like, could the same try to be applicated to something we want humans to do?
Ooh.
Is that harder
Ooh.
because
God.
there's more?
I'm gonna give you my wallet.
Like, is that harder because there's more sentience? Is it harder? Like, why is there confidence in that, but not me saying I want Aiden to burp, and I'm going to think about it for a lot over and over again.
Well, here's what I would say to that. But now I'm intrigued. I'm going to see what I can get
Well,
people
I'm trying
to
to
do
see if
walking
we can
down the
harness our
street.
collective power for something
For good.
big.
For good.
I bet we could.
No, it's evil.
Oh,
I mean, it's
okay.
net
Well, then
good,
I don't
but
think I should
it's
tell you.
net good, Elizabeth. But you can guess.
So here's the thing. Really, what we share with the animals is a visual language. And that's why I suggest using pictures.
God,
right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a short answer, but I get it. I understand now.
Yeah.
So we've flown Khaleesi back in. A reminder, she did warm up, but now since we were kind of trying to place her in a spot, she's a little bit anxious again. But as we saw earlier, I think she'll warm up again. So Elizabeth, would you like to share some of the things that you wrote when you first saw this photo of her?
Yes. So what I do is I connect through the photograph and I explain to them what I'm there to do. And usually when my pen hits the paper, I get kind of a theme. And today the theme was that she told me she has some special equipment. And I was like, well, I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll find out. So it doesn't seem to be any extra body parts or anything, but she was...
she has a gun.
She is highly sensory, and she can see... Let me just skip to what some of that is. That she's really good at knowing where things are, so you can't really hide things from her because she knows how to find them. But she is also you can't hide your thoughts and feelings from her either. But she just seems to be that she has a unique way of seeing, and that she sees beyond. I know this. That it's like almost like an X-ray vision in ways, and that she can see where something or someone has been. So, I mean, I'm really getting that she could potentially be effective as some sort of a detection dog, which it does not feel like who we're sitting here with today, but it's what she gave me.
She's got aspirations.
Yes. She has, and that she is curious. She's a sponge for knowledge. She likes to, there she goes, good girl. She doesn't love commands. She prefers requests.
Same.
She likes a collaboration. She's open to negotiation. There are maybe some things that you ask her to do that she's not necessarily doing at the moment, but she's willing to negotiate. And I'm glad that she reminded me of that, because that's something that comes up a lot. People will think, well, you're going to talk to my animal and you're going to tell them I want X, Y, Z. And I'll go, great. And I'll tell them, and they'll be like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Right. So, but that they really are very often willing to negotiate, and they'll say, well, if I could have more of this, then they can have that. Or if they help me understand this, then I can do that, So she's one of those, because she has a very gentle nature. And so it's not like you don't have to, it's easy enough to get through to her, but she prefers to be asked.
What is different about when you going into your sessions? Do you do the same thing where you have a photo?
Yes.
So do you often, depending on so we look at dog photos for a living.
Yes.
So I know some
Lucky.
of them. Are there photos that are more helpful than others? Do you need eye contact? Do you need a neutral background, like Khaleesi's at the beach here? Is there context about her being at the beach that you can learn more about because she's there? Like, we assume this was a very happy day because she's at the beach. Is that good for you?
It's really that I like to see their eyes, and I always say no other people or animals in the photo because of the fact that I can get cross information. And if there's concerns about the animal or trying to learn the story, that as current a picture as possible, because I want to see where they are right now. So this was yesterday, right? The beach was yesterday. So that's really current. And yeah, I just think that she's, there's a lot in there that hasn't come out yet. That's what I would say. And that she will want a job. And she has jobs that she's going to be good at. And, it doesn't have to be like that she's going to go become a search and rescue dog, but she's going to...
That would be great.
A role in the house. It could
yeah,
be.
But that whatever it is, that having a job is very important to her. It is with many of them, but I really feel like she's going to want a job.
So just for clarity, if you were at the beach looking at her in this, would you be getting anything more than the photo? Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, probably not, because I could see her moving and things like that, and maybe she'd come up to me and tell me something. I don't know. But I also, it's like the whole context thing. I don't want to be like, oh, you're at a beach and you must feel like this and that must be going on. And that's like how I was kidding. I thought she was going to tell me how to levitate, and that's not what she was talking about at all. But that's the story I told myself about seeing her look so happy at the beach.
That is very interesting.
And I will, in the midst of talking to an animal, at times get on a roll and be like, because like you said, we're storytellers, right? And be like, am I telling this story?
Oh,
or are they?
Fill in a
Yeah.
blank, maybe.
Are they? Am I telling this, or are they telling it? And I'll catch myself, and I'll get like, "You're on it," and I'm like, "Oops, sorry. Let me back up and really get it from them again." So I do check myself.
And the ultimate goal with talking to Khaleesi was to assist Real Good in finding her forever home.
Yeah.
What from this, is it what you highlight, or what from this would you be most urgently communicating to her rescue, to like maybe assist in the marketing, to better, maybe to even redo her paragraph on her bio on the website?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's been written about her because I didn't access that, but I just think that there's a lot in there and she has a lot to give, but she's going to need to get some special guidance. I know that can sound like every dog, but I will say that I'm not going to really go into them, but when I did look in her body, there are some things in her body that I think about some things that happened to her that were traumatic, and we worked on moving that. So I think that there's the time of continuing to get her settled and safe, and but I think there are some very special talents in there.
Would you be able to maybe briefly provide a description of what you think her ideal adopter might look like? Her, not physically.
Oh, I
look
love
like,
this.
But look like, what is it? Maybe their routine, maybe their environment. Is there anything you can derive that would, you think, set up Khaleesi for success?
Well, she needs outlets for her energy.
Okay.
Right? I know that dogs need that, but because she's going to emerge.
Expand.
She's going to emerge, and then she's going to need those kind of outlets. I think the thing is, this is going to sound like a simple thing to say, but someone that really wants to be involved. Like, I know people that get these dogs they think would be really great to have, and then they just kind of let them free range.
Especially when you look like that.
Yeah.
She's going to attract a lot of attention.
Right. And so it's that someone that's experienced with dogs. It wouldn't be someone that's going to practice on her. I mean, I'm sure the rescue knows that far better than not, but yeah, she has a lot in there. She just needs a little more time to get settled.
I like that. I agree. I think someone who understands dogs would be perfect for her.
Patient.
Someone who can give her that job, or at least train her. She could do agility, something like that. Because especially like she's so connected to her foster parent that like it's like like if someone understands how to train dogs, she'd be so good.
Yeah, she is extremely smart and extremely trainable, and I love hearing that she's getting along with other animals in the home. I think that's always a big thing to know about, but I think she needs some time to be at the center of things.
Did she tell you anything that surprised you? Not that you go in with expectations, but did she tell anything that you're like, oh, didn't expect that?
Yeah, I've never had one of them explain to me this idea of being able to see where something has been. I know you can think of scent tracking and things like that, but there's just something about her spatial understanding, or there's something that's different in there that I think could be very useful.
Well, we wish her the best of luck, and thank you for assisting in her journey to a forever home.
Do you need a dog?
Has there ever been a session where maybe it's with a rescue dog where you're like, wait a second, I might be a good fit for you?
It's a good question.
Oh, that's a good question. I never say never to anything, but I'm not seeing a dog in my future. Okay. I'm happy to assist them the way that I do. Yeah. These ways that she sees and knows things, and the way that she likes to collaborate, she'll help make it very clear when the right person and the right situation is there.
Oh, that's
so she'll participate in the process in a way that you won't have to wonder.
Cassim.
Cassim. Khaleesi was very friendly with Cassim. That's why we're mentioning that. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. That was wild in the best of ways. And thank you so much for participating in Khaleesi's story. The question I ask all my favorite people is, why do we love dogs? And I think
never asked me that. You've never asked me that one. And it hurts.
Sorry.
Stop attacking me.
Well, I'm especially curious about Elizabeth's take, and then maybe I'll ask you later.
Because they help us anchor our hearts. There's another animal communicator that I know that was talking to a representative of the canine people, and they said, we come to help you anchor your hearts.
The canine people.
Wait, pause. Wait, now we need a part 2. What do you mean the representative of the canine people? How do you know when you've encountered one of those? Is Javier one of those? He seems like one of those.
But then isn't canine people an oxymoron?
Oh,
okay, the canine, maybe I said people and they said, yeah, but I really do think that, all animals give us the opportunity to feel love in ways that we don't tend to feel it otherwise. And so part of what this was not a dog I talked to, but part of what this dog said was, we're here to help you anchor your hearts, but there's things that you need to do. It's like they're a starter kit, right?
I knew you'd have a good answer. Wow, I think if I had this ability, I would not use it wisely.
Really?
I think I would just be I would use, not for evil, maybe, but more so like, I'd just be like, hey, what should I have for dinner tonight? Like, It wouldn't be and obviously you're coming in with a very specific purpose at the request of their owners, but oh my goodness, I'd be a menace, I think. I'd be just getting all sorts of feedback all the time from all the dogs, just out of my own. It'd be selfish, I think. I'd use it selfishly is how I'll summarize.
Yeah.
And they would forgive you for it. That's the beauty of dogs.
Makes me want to do it more.
Yeah, right.
They're the best.
Right.
You may be wondering why, because the dog astrologer from a few episodes back did Javier's birth chart. You may be wondering why we did not have Javier here so that we could talk to Javier, which I really wanted to do. Elizabeth, if you wouldn't mind explaining why that might not be as effective.
Well, he's a very public figure, and I have heard and read things about him. So I would really be in the danger zone of telling a story instead of hearing him. Or even if he would be telling me the story that you've told about him, you wouldn't know that it was genuine, right?
Yeah.
But I would love to talk to him.
I want you to talk to my dogs.
Okay. That's great. That's what I do.
That's
Get him on the phone.
Like what she does. Well, again, thank you so much. We do have to say goodbye to Khaleesi. Oh, actually, sorry. One real quick thing.
Yes.
Please tell us where people can find more of you. And also, I believe you're sending Khaleesi home with something.
Yes. She's going to get a gift certificate that will go with her on her adoption package. So whoever has her next has a chance to see what's on her mind at that time.
Amazing.
That's great. And maybe if they have another pet, maybe you can work with their current pet and her, maybe.
Yeah, that's always a
Little
possibility.
incentive.
Yeah, definitely.
You just bundle her offer for her?
Just like, I'm like, oh, if someone's watching or listening, they could be like, well, maybe,
Oh, well, if that's going to,
Mr. Whiskers over there.
That's gonna
can
do
get
it.
a reading
But really,
too.
the
Maybe
thing
they
is-
have more of a desire to adopt the dog.
That wasn't your offer to bundle, Jess.
But I'm just saying, like, it's an incentive for someone to adopt her because then they'll get a reading.
If you are considering adopting Khaleesi and you have a dog at home, I don't think, I think, yes. I think not only Khaleesi would welcome that because she's in a foster home with 5 of the dogs right now, but you're a perfectly suitable
4 other
candidate.
dogs.
4 other dogs, sorry. You're a perfectly suitable candidate. I wouldn't rule yourself out. And maybe the bundle will hold. But that's not our decision to make.
for you, Jess. I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Well, it's really for her.
Yeah. I was only
But you
thinking
too.
of her.
I know.
Yeah. More incentive. Sweeten the deal.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Extra value.
But we do have to say goodbye to Khaleesi. Once again, very, very adoptable from Real Good Rescue here in LA. She's 2 years old. She's some sort of Dalmatian Catahoula mix. And
So sweet, so gentle, so quiet.
just as Elizabeth was saying, just needs a place to bloom.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
I know.
that.
It's not original
Don't
to
we
me,
all?
but don't we all? Don't we all? Elizabeth, one more time, could you tell people where they can find you?
Yes. So you can find me at Elizabeth Listens to Animals, and you can find me on Instagram the same way.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you again so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, it's such an honor.
If you enjoyed this episode, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're listening to this, which this was an exceptional episode to listen to, in my opinion, you can add us to your playlist on Apple or Spotify, and we will see you next time with another Adoptable special guest.
Oh, that looks like a good dog. That's a good dog. Yeah, that looks like a good dog. A very